at her desk. She probably had door duty tonight. Hell, Emma would be lucky if Stacia let her in to see him. Up here was Damien's domain, and it showed. Thick, rich, dark carpeting. The double doors to his office, shut tight at the moment, gleamed of varnished black, matching Stacia's desk perfectly. The walls were painted gray, clashing slightly with the splashes of cheerful color Stacia insisted on to liven up the place. A single lamp burned in the corner, casting its dim ambiance across the area. There were a couple of tall, narrow windows, but darkness spread beyond them. Emma's lips twisted even as she tried to stave off a bite of bitterness. Her office downstairs was a closet-sized room off a glaringly white hallway. No window, but even if she had one, she would only have a lovely view of a brick wall. The overhead lighting hurt her eyes so much that she usually left it off, resorting to only her desk lamp. A long time ago, on a rare visit, Damien had offered to have the walls painted for her, but she'd declined, mainly to get him out of there as fast as possible, because his very presence sucked the oxygen out of the room, made heat roar in her face, made her panties uncomfortably wet. So she guessed she couldn't allow herself to be too bitter. Whenever she needed him for a clarification or one of his lightning-fast, back-slanting signatures, she sought him out in his office and left as quick as she could. Damien Larson wasn't much for small talk, thank God. Emma navigated the serpentine hallways back in the direction she'd come, taking the opposite direction from the stairs, and finally reaching the window where Stacia would be sitting, though Emma couldn't see her behind the privacy glass. She rang the buzzer, steeling herself for the confrontation. The glass slid open, revealing Stacia's model beautiful face, which always had an exasperated, harassed quality about it. Her blue eyes darted down to the laptop Emma held clutched to her chest, and then rolled so far back in her head that Emma feared she would sprain them. "You can't leave it alone, can you?" Emma had always wondered if Damien and Stacia's relationship went beyond employer-employee. She was incredibly protective of him, but right now that protection was misplaced. Emma leaned her head in the window, injecting all the confidence she didn't exactly feel into her voice. "If you want to be the one to explain why he had to wait until tomorrow to hear he's losing money tonight, be my guest. Otherwise, let me in or go get him. Your choice." Huffing indignantly, Stacia leaned over to buzz Emma in, shaking her head. "I'm not fucking telling him that. Have fun." "Thank you," Emma clipped back, not feeling thankful at all, considering the task at hand. She cast a glare at the stacks upon stacks of poker chips on the counter at Stacia's back, and drew the last clean breath she would take for several minutes. Unfortunately, Damien allowed his players to smoke, and a suffocating pall would no doubt hang over the enormous room. As she slipped inside, feeling dwarfed by the open space and high ceiling, all eyes seemed to turn to her, and she ducked her head to shield her face behind a swath of long red hair, clutching her laptop tighter to her breasts. She hated it in here. The clink of chips, the stench of cigarette smoke she would smell in her clothes even after she went home, the exclamations of victory or defeat. Among all the bodies seated at the professional poker tables scattered around the room, she searched for one dark head. He was never hard to find. No sooner had her gaze locked on him than he glanced up, doing a double-take to see her there. She imagined the sight was almost as rare as his visits to her office, if not more so. Emma gave a little meaningful lift of her laptop, and he nodded, briefly holding up a finger. His opponent, whose back was to her, glanced back to see who he was gesturing at, and Emma nearly dropped her computer. "Ben? What in the hell?" Her next thought was, so much for Gamblers Anonymous. But the thing that hurt her the worst of all, the thing that shot her right through the heart with an arrow of agony, was that her brother showed absolutely no sign of alarm or shame at having been caught. In fact, his bland expression didn't change at all. He simply turned back to the game as if the two of them hadn't grown up together with the same parents in the same house. As if she were a stranger. Her brother had never had that much of a poker face. Oh, God, her poor parents! They'd damn near lost everything getting Benjamin out of his debts. He'd promised to change. For a while he had, working a steady job and renting a small apartment. And here he was, sitting across from the one fucking man guaranteed.